And again, I give myself credit for not having the knowledge, and I made sure to make sure that I did everything I could to correct my error. So what I did was I listened to everything he said. I listened to my podcast every day that I was in my car driving for the rideshare companies, and I was pretty much working 80 hours a week between multiple jobs. So it would be the rideshare companies, the pizza place that I was at, and any entertainment jobs I could get. So extra work, and this is where I started to get into acting. So, because somebody had said, hey, if you're really enjoying dance, why don't you try getting into acting? And then I was on set one day and somebody else said, hey, if you like this stuff, why don't you try voiceover work? And so he made me a referral. All those jobs are NDA, so I can't say what they are, but I've really enjoyed doing all those. Those have been fun. And so, yeah, most of my days were like 60 hours. Well, most weeks were 60 hours a week doing the rideshare companies at first. And then on the weekends, I would do extra work on Saturdays and Sundays. If I booked extra work Monday through Friday, then I would I would do the rideshare jobs down there and then back.
And back, that was the words of Sean Paul Payton. Guys, welcome back to A Word Before We Leave. My name is Brett Gaffney, and this is the intro of the show. We're doing it again, live on a Monday. Not actually live, but you guys get it straight to your ears from Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, you name it, we got it. Now, guys, this episode is insanely informative of the journey of a man who pays off $100,000 plus of debt over the span of only 8 to 10 years. I'd say it's more closer to 8 if I'm being honest. And the number of debt fluctuates throughout this, but Sean's story is incredibly important. Sean talks about income changes, cost of living changes, moving across the country, pursuing passion in arts, pursuing side hustles and different jobs, and being swallowed alive by what could feel like an impossible amount to debt payoff, but he pays it off and he was happy while doing it. This is an important story, and I don't want to talk much longer about how important it is because I think you guys will understand it from this point on. If you are in a position where you find yourself in debt, this episode could change your life. Thank you for joining us, and please stick around because there's more to come and a lot of wise words and resources that will be plugged in throughout this episode. Sean does have to withhold names and information of certain things just for the security of his job and respect for his employer out of privacy. So if there's any other questions or concerns, or you need links to resources, A Word Before We Leave is available to you to be reached out to. We have an Instagram and we have a YouTube channel, and you can just tag me on Instagram at brett.gaffney if you want to talk to me directly. But without further ado, now the episode. Spotify listeners, support for the podcast is now available at the link in our bio. All you have to do is click the link if you feel free to generously donate any change towards the way of the podcast. A Word Before We Leave is fully independently produced by me, Brett Gaffney, and the amount of time and energy that I put into it, I hope will one day come back to me. So without further ado, if you enjoy this and you can't afford to give any money towards the show, that's totally fine. I just ask that you give it a rating of 5 stars. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Or you can share it with somebody that you love, because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to create this show for you. Thank you, and like I said, now the show. Welcome back to A Word Before We Leave. My name is Brett Gaffney, and today I am with Sean Paul Payton. Today we are in Pasadena, California, located in Los Angeles County. And Sean, what would you like to say to the audience as a little hello?
Well, thanks for bringing me here, Brett, and hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I think it's great that we get to live in Los Angeles County. There's a lot of entertainment here. There's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of traffic here.
That's true. That is true.
And overall, it's just a great day, and so I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. Well, to be honest, I'm actually in your apartment. You invited me in, so I want to thank you for having me here specifically as well.
No problem.
The audience knows I love to travel the podcast from to and fro everywhere, whether I'm going from Chicago to Kansas City to Los Angeles or here and there. But we are now here to talk about you. But to start the show off, we do a little segment I like to call Word of the Day. Word of the Day is brought to you by Merriam-Webster Dictionary, but it is not sponsored yet. Emphasis on yet, because one day the dictionary will hear the show and they'll say, "Hey, this guy's loyal to the dictionary."
Nice.
So today's word of the day is pedantic. Pedantic is spelled Pedantic. It is an adjective, and pedantic means it describes someone or something that exhibits the characteristics of a pedant. That is, a person who often annoys other people by correcting small errors or giving too much attention to minor details. Pedantic also means narrowly, strategically, and often ostentatiously learned. And their example sentence is, their habit of reminding fellow birders that the bird is called a Canada goose and not a Canadian goose came across as pedantic rather than helpful. Now, with the segment, you're going to come up with a sentence using our word of the day, and then I'll come up with a sentence, and then we'll dive into the questions.
Wow. My third grade teacher was very pedantic.
That's essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on why she was pedantic or they were pedantic?
I just will never... I'll never forget that I was putting away my crayons, and she yelled at me. She's like, "Put them away faster!" I was like, I'm like a kid just putting away my crayons, and you're getting upset? Are you in the right career? So now, of course,
can't deal with these kids.
Yeah, in my third grade mind, I wasn't thinking that advanced. I was just like, she's so mean. But that's I'll never forget that.
Well, my example sentence will be, when I was driving behind the Honda on the freeway today, they were being very pedantic towards me as they left a lot of space in front of their car while there was bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep, that's
that
LA for
right.
you. He was sitting really far behind. That's true, though. That actually happened.
So we've got our two traumatic experiences, me with the third grade crayons and you with LA traffic.
LA traffic. The problem is I can't escape the LA traffic.
Oh, man. It's, it is what it is.
It really is what it is. All right, Sean, are you ready to answer some questions?
Yes, let's do it.
So, Sean, for the audience, I would like you to just tell us a quick 2 to 3 sentences about who you are, and we'll go from there.
Great. Well, my name is Sean Paul Payton, and I grew up in Ohio, moved out here about a decade ago, and I have been a participant in the entertainment industry. I also work in finance, and I have done Uber in the past. So the big thing for me is that I'm a very hard worker that really enjoys the entertainment industry and finance. Those are my two big things I like.
Great. All right. Well, let's dive into it.
Sure.
So, Sean, I like to start off the podcast light and easy. What gets you out of bed every day?
I think just being able to serve others, it's really nice, whether it's in entertainment, if that's permitted by my main job, or whether it's helping people in finance. Those two things are really nice, and just helping people either learn how to have a better future or just be entertained by something that I do. Those are the two things that get me out of bed. And of course, my family, my girlfriend, and my dog.
Shout out to the girlfriend, shout out to the dog,
yes.
Shout out to the fam. Love
That's
it.
right.
Now, Sean, you posted on Instagram a couple weeks ago saying that it had been a long journey for you, but
yes.
you had become debt-free.
Yes.
And you were very happy about it. You even describe yourself as the debt-free artist.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think within this country, especially with the rising cost of living, stagnant wages, student debt, credit card debt, housing debt, medical debt, a lot of those things can add up. And personally, I wanted to talk to you today about your debt journey and your way that you approached it. So we'll start, like I said, in the past.
Yes.
And I just want to know, where did the debt begin, and where was your headspace when it all started?
Sure. So the debt began, of course, like for many of us in college. I had gone to school and started off with just the marketing pursuit. I was majoring in marketing, and I went ahead and graduated, did everything that everyone said to do, focus on a nice career major, and then once you go to school for 4 years, you can graduate, get a good job. And, well, I graduated during a recession, so I didn't get the job that I was expecting.
What year did you graduate?
It was 2008. So,
and what college did you go to, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. I went to Bowling Green State University.
Nice. What state is that?
That is in Ohio.
Ohio. Shout out to Ohio. Nice.
OHIO. Or BGSU.
BGSU. You never know.
I like both of those universities. Ohio State University. I almost went to Ohio State, but I liked Bowling Green State University. They had some good programs there.
Nice.
And so, anyway, I graduated and ended up working in retail with a marketing degree. But it wasn't too bad because I got into it's like an accelerated management program. So since I had the bachelor's degree, that still gave me an opportunity to get ahead quicker. But I did, like I said, I ended up in retail, and I was expecting I was going to be in a corporate, job after all the stuff that I did. I even did an Owens Corning. It was some sort of workshop presentation thing that we did while I was in college, and that was a great thing that I had an opportunity to do. But like I said, I ended up in retail, and I made some good friends there. But one of the things that it was kind of funny is whenever either the store was closed and we were just cleaning up, a lot of people would see me like moonwalking or dancing in the aisles, right? And one of my guys he became the manager of my department, and I was the assistant manager. But I think him and a few others were like, dude, you're always dancing so much, even like when we go out to bars and whatever. Why don't you just like go back to school for dance or something and pursue what you like? And I gave it a lot of thought, and I was like, okay. So,
wow.
Yeah, so I ended up going to school twice, and that is where I credit myself for accruing my own debt, because the first time I got a scholarship where it was taken care of.
It was affordable. Was it a full ride?
Yeah. Well, I think
it was essentially close to a full ride.
Pretty close to that. But I decided to go back that second time and see how much more exciting could I make my future if I did pursue the arts, right? Because, we've been in a generation where there's been Michael Jackson, Jennifer Lopez, Justin Bieber, Usher, Justin Timberlake, all these great artists, and just thinking about the opportunity to work with them. Lady Gaga is another one that came to my mind. It just seemed like, wow, maybe I should try this. So I started off by going to a summer study abroad, I actually went to Japan for a year during college, but I did a summer workshop dance intensive at Sarah Lawrence College for the summer. And that was a lot of fun, because the only thing I did there was just dance. There was no bills. There was no job. There was nothing but dance. And we were in this beautiful campus, kind of tucked in the woods is what it felt like to me. So anyway, back to BGSU. I went back to BGSU, accrued $45,000 in debt. And here's what I'll say on this. I'm very happy that, like, when I talk to people that are in their 20s or their teens or, even their 30s now, they're way more educated on financial decisions than I was back when I made those decisions, because had I understood compound interest, debt, interest rates, I wouldn't have done that. I would have gone straight to LA and just started, because either way, with 2 years of training, I would have been ready to do what I did. But I don't regret the friends that I made and the experience that I had. So anyway, let's add up this $100K. $45K going back to school, once I graduated, I saw what a lot of the celebrities, the singing artists were doing. And I was like, man, maybe I should make an album or something, right? So then I got in touch with, because I did some singing classes too. Got in the jazz choir on campus. That was fun. And then I got in touch with an artist, a development network person. Her name is Kathy, and she's great. Keep in touch with her to this day. But we made some songs with some songwriters down there. That was something where I got so passionate about. I spent more money on credit cards to get the album done. It was like $6,000 on credit cards. And then after I had done all this, so we're at like somewhere in the 50s for debt, and I graduate with my dance degree and start teaching dance, then I get a corporate job offer. And I was like,
You're like, the passion.
Could this have not come a little bit sooner,
yeah, the
like
passion
2 years earlier?
I'm deep in the passion. I'm putting investments into my artistic career.
Yeah.
This corporate job, I don't know.
And then it's like, hey, Sean, we're ready for you in corporate America now that you just paid like $54,000 of debt. And I was like, wow, now I finally had the chance to get to that. And so then I jumped to that. And then after 6 months, I got fired because I didn't make my numbers.
Really?
Right. That's right. I stopped teaching dance and I went down to I won't name the job, but I went down to work in logistics and I got fired after 6 months. Then I was mad. I was like, enough. I am out of Ohio. I'm gone. And so I might be peeking there.
No, all good. You're fine.
I drove all the way across the country in my car, my 2008 Honda Civic, and just went straight to California within 3 or 4 days.
Did you have an apartment lined up or anything?
No, I had $500 in my wallet and $55,000 of debt, and I just said the heck with it and left. So this was a fun adventure, fun and scary. I visited as many friends as I could along the way. I stayed at my mom's house for a day. Then I drove up to Northern Ohio to visit my buddy Matt. We played some video games, and then I left. Fun fact, one of the reasons I got into dance was because I became obsessed with Dance Dance Revolution in 2007.
Nice.
And I
DDR?
I triple A'd a whole bunch of these songs, the hardest songs in the game at the time. And then I liked it so much that also with, growing up watching Michael Jackson and having some school dances in junior high, and then the senior dance performance in front of the whole auditorium where everyone was cheering for us, I think that's what gave me a little boost too. But all that together is why I got into dance, those little experiences. So anyway, met my DDR buddy, went to Chicago and met another buddy, and then I did this was like, I don't know if it was 12 or 18 hours, but I went straight from Indiana and Chicago all the way to Denver, Colorado, where my buddy Dave, that I used to work with at the home improvement store, we'll say, worked or lived. During that time, there was some sort of tornado or something that was happening, because I was going to stop halfway, but like the winds were blowing and it was getting dark and I was hearing warnings on the radio. So I was like, oh man, I better just gun it and keep going. And so I did. And I tried to call my buddy Dave when I got there at like 1 a.m. and there was no answer, and it was winter. So it was like, I don't know, 18 degrees out. And I just kind of slept in the Walmart parking lot for an hour or two.
You're like, this is so cold. This is terrible.
Yeah. But then he eventually called and he's like, dude, where are you? And I was like, oh, I rang your doorbell and nobody answered. He's like, oh, just keep ringing. Come here. And so I got there and he was great. And so then I made it to Kathy's place because she had moved from Nashville to Utah. And I stayed there for, I think, a day. And then I went down to my dad's in Vegas. And then I looked up hostels while I was there. And I found one and just went there for like, I don't know what the cost was, but it was like, I don't know if it was like $30 a day or $400 for a week, something like that. So I stayed there. And that first month, because I had 30 days, right? Because I finally made it to LA. 30 days to figure out what to do next. Started looking for houses, and then I started applying to jobs. I made it a goal to apply to 3 apps a day, and I was going to hit 100 job apps by the end of that month because I had very little time to get a job. I got a job at a pizza place.
Nice. You were applying to everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Walking, handing out resumes, looking for help wanted, applying online. got the job at the pizza place, and then I found the house at one of my buddies. Well, buddies to this day. His name is Free, and he's a choreographer that owns a
like a studio
housing place
thing
for
artists.
dancers.
Nice.
For dancers,
Nice.
yeah. So that's how I got here, and I'll pause there because what I'm going to do next is talk about how the rest of my debt came. Does that sound good?
That's totally fine. Go for it.
All right. So this is great. Now I've got my job at the pizza place.
Wait, can I ask what number is the debt at this point? And what year would this be?
We're still at around the mid 50s, and it's
climbing
55K, we'll say, and 2014. Next, I was driving around doing the pizza deliveries, and then one of my fellow drivers said, "Hey, man, if you like this, you should really try rideshare companies." And I think people can guess pretty easily which companies those are. But just for obeying what my current job wants me to do, I'm not going to do any shout outs.
Just a part of your past.
But I started working for them. And this was a great way that I helped eliminate my debt moving forward. But at that point, I was like, wow, if I'm going to do this job and use my car full time, I'd better get a better car. And so I wasn't even thinking like that. I started using my car I had, but I got my car repaired at, we'll just say Honda. It's fine for that. And the great guys at Honda were saying, wow, you know what, Sean? I think you could really use a new car. And I was like, oh, really, Mr. Salesman? He's like, yeah, there's so many benefits to getting a new car. Why don't you just do it?
I see where this is going.
I was like, wow, this is such a nice guy, and he's friendly. Maybe I should listen to everything he's saying. So that's just
he's like, yep, get the car. Get the car. Give me my commission.
Again, not having a lot of financial knowledge at this point, but liking people. And so, of course, there goes $28,000 more dollars, whatever it was at that point.
Did you have to take a car loan out for that?
Yeah, and basically, I listened to whatever terms I had to follow all rules and laws and whatever. But eventually, that ended up being, what are we at now? Let's just say with interest, that added $30K. So 50, 60, 70, 85. And then just random expenses at this point, like trying to take dance classes and learning more about entertainment, and then just charging up credit cards and stuff. We finally hit, I think at the worst, it was 105 or 110, something like that.
And were you actively paying off this debt during this time, or are you just letting it accumulate interest?
Since we're around 2014 to 2015, we are not making smart financial decisions. We're just using whatever resource we can to afford to live in LA.
Yeah.
And to take all the training that you can because of how competitive it is in the entertainment industry. I remember one ASCAP expo that I went to, and these were the two things that made me come out here because I spent for 2 summers, I came out for about a weekend just to attend those, and those were amazing. Great people, there's singers, songwriters, everyone there. But I think I remember one artist saying that he got to 100K in debt before he ever made it. And I don't know why, like things like that. Well, I do know why, because they're major influential people, and you're young, and you're in was it easy to influence, something like that. So like I think like when I heard that, I felt like it was okay to get that high in debt, but I also decided at the same time that if I ever hit that amount, I was going to make a serious evaluation of where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I did. 2015 came, and I was going to church at the time. I won't say exactly which church just because I want a little privacy, but a local church around the area. And they started this thing called, let's see, can I say this? They started this teaching these debt-free lessons. And it was made by a very famous financial influential person. You take a guess at who that is, and I'll neither confirm nor deny.
Would it? I mean, my guess would be Dave Ramsey.
Could be.
Could
maybe,
be. Okay,
maybe
cool.
not.
Got
So
it.
anyway, I took these classes, and they started to teach me, about everything there is to know about finance and making smarter decisions. I will just go ahead and say there was a debt snowball method, hint, hint, and it was really effective. And what I started doing at that point was, now I was kind of transitioning from dance to acting at this point. And one cool thing was that I got in some major music videos. I want to thank Free for that, because he was definitely a part of that. Shram Salati was a music video that he was an artist that I got to dance the music video for, which led to me living in another house with fellow actors and entertainers. And there was a gentleman by the name of Zion that was very helpful. He let me know about an opportunity to be on set, and I took it. And there were some scenes with dancing that we participated in. They did eventually minimize that because of the subject matter, but then they played the artist's song, and it was Lady Gaga. So what's very cool about this was I am to this day a big Lady Gaga fan. Justin Timberlake, Bieber, Usher, Michael, everybody. I love them all. And one of the things that I did was I posted a Lady Gaga music video, like me doing her dance side to side when I was in college. And to go from that to actually being in one of her music videos was a dream come true. So in that moment, I had already felt like I had made it, regardless of what my financial position was. And that was one of the moments that made me so grateful that I had started this journey, because I proved, because there were some people, back at home that were like, yeah, right, I don't know if you're going to be able to make that. It's so hard. What are you doing? Just stay in your regular job. But I didn't. And because I listened to my heart and my gut, I was able to achieve a dream, which was to be in one of my favorite artists' music video.
And you were in a Lady Gaga music video.
Yeah.
What, can I ask what song it was?
I will say this one. It was Lady Gaga's Till It Happens to You. Now, I'm going to look very different. I had very short hair, and I think my face was clean shaven. It'll be hard to tell where I'm at most of the time because, it was kind of extra work. But at the end, you can see me walking towards the screen on the right side in black and white. And that was just so cool. What's funny about that is I kept doing extra work, and I ended up in another one of her things, like right in front of her.
Nice.
It was her movie, A Star Is Born.
You were in A Star Is Born?
In the audience. I don't think they put us extras in that little part, but I watched the movie, and it was just incredible because I could see the part where we were cheering her on when she was singing. And this is so funny. And Lady Gaga, I hope you hear this, and someday we get to meet again, because I was in the front row and we were, acting and cheering and screaming her on. And she looks right at me and the people around me and says, "How are you guys all doing today?" And I just froze. My mouth hung open. I was smiling. I looked up and I just waved. I couldn't even speak. And that had never happened to me before, but I think it was just so incredible.
It was like out of body experience,
Yeah.
a theory, or like, this is everything I've always wanted. Like,
Yeah.
my hero's in front of me, essentially.
Right, because I was, just years ago, I was in my buddy's living room dancing to her music video, and now I'm right in front of her, and she just asked me a question, and I'm like,
You just frozen waving?
yeah,
I love it.
yeah. So Gaga, I have overcome my ability to freeze in front of people. I will definitely say hello and have a good conversation the next time if we ever meet again.
You never know.
Yeah, that would be great. Oh, one of her wonderful dancers, Ian McKenzie, I got to take dance classes from him, and he is awesome too. Ian, if you're listening, thank you so much for those dance classes. And you guys, everyone that dances for these artists, shout out to you all. Like, it is such hard work, especially the touring dancers, to do what you do. And I'm glad that I've been able to see what it takes to do this.
Now, Before we dive into more of the questions, I think it's
Yeah.
a perfect time to do a little segment I like to call Wordplay.
Yeah.
So here's the game. I'm going to count us down from 1, 2, 3. Actually, it'll be more 3, 2, 1. And then both of us are going to say a word. The rule is nothing in the room.
Yes.
Don't repeat any words that we've already said.
Okay.
And try not to say names.
Okay.
And we can't talk about it in between.
Great.
So it'll just go round by round, and our goal is to get to say the same word at the same time.
Yes.
Without telling each other what the word is.
All right.
So I'll give you a second to think of a word. I'm going to think of a word, something random, nothing in the room. Don't repeat yourself, no names. I got a word.
Me too.
3, 2, 1.
Peacock.
Tapioca. Tapioca and peacock.
Wow. Okay. I got a word.
I got a word. 3, 2, 1.
Soup.
Oolong.
Ooh.
Oolong and soup.
Okay. I got a word.
Yeah, I got a word.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Miso.
Yeah!
That
Wow.
was immediate.
Third time.
That was immediate.
That was awesome.
That was really good.
Dude, 3's my lucky number. That was cool.
Sometimes these segments go for minutes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a quick 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Well, that's the segment. That's
That
wordplay.
was awesome.
I love the authentic. We were like, yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right. Well, now I'm going to continue the questions. We're going to keep it
Yeah.
more present day now, but feel free to wrap up the debt journey real
Absolutely.
quick, and then I'll talk about how you started to pay it off.
Great. That's awesome. So, yes, the debt maxed out at about 2015. Started getting in those financial education classes in through church. And that was where I wanted to just start to turn things around.
And the final number was around 105?
Yeah, let's say 105 to 110.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And how did you feel when you hit that amount of debt?
I was like, I am not doing something right. And fortunately, my pastor and those financial education classes were helping me to understand that too. You know what? I'll just say this is not an endorsement, but I will say that it was Dave Ramsey, because I thought about it, and I think that's okay for me to say. But
And that's free public use knowledge.
Yeah.
Anyone can access this online. Dave
Yeah.
Ramsey has very public courses. This is not an endorsement. This is just what you used in your past to start the journey of paying off debt.
Exactly. That's right. And so when I started listening, shall I go on into how the payoffs went?
Yeah.
I worked so harder than I ever did in my life. And again, I give myself credit for not having the knowledge, and I made sure to make sure that I did everything I could to correct my error. So what I did was I listened to everything he said. I listened to my podcast every day that I was in my car driving for the rideshare companies. And I was pretty much working 80 hours a week between multiple jobs. So it would be the rideshare companies, the pizza place that I was at, and any entertainment jobs I could get. So extra work and this is where I started to get into acting. So, because somebody had said, hey, if you're really enjoying dance, why don't you try getting into acting? And then I was on set one day and somebody else said, hey, if you like this stuff, why don't you try voiceover work? And so he made me a referral. All those jobs are NDA, so I can't say what they are, but I've really enjoyed, doing all those. Those have been fun. And so, yeah, most of my days were like 60 hours. Well, most weeks were 60 hours a week doing the rideshare companies at first. And then on the weekends, I would do extra work on Saturdays and Sundays. If I booked extra work Monday through Friday, then I would just I would do the rideshare jobs down there and then back. And then I would just do any sort of other bookings that I would get at the time. So I was paying off debt at a rate of about $2,000 a month, because that's how much extra I was making to just funnel it into the debt. And sorry for anyone that I didn't give money to at that time, because I was in the hole. I would technically be bankrupt. So I just needed to get out of that. So let's say it's 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. About by 2018, I had reduced it to like 80 or 75. Well, what was that? Probably 75 or 60 at that point. Got into a relationship at that point. We really fell hard for each other fast. In the beginning, we really, really cared about each other. I think we rushed things far too quickly because we were both pretty enthusiastic about how to get into things. And there was a lot of financial constraint for both of us. That didn't work out. The split was very costly because I just couldn't stand to be where I lived anymore after, wanting to commit so hard to somebody, but just not being in the right phase of my life to actually make something like that work anyway. I think my pastor had good advice when he said, and many people probably say this, that you need to work on yourself before you're trying to get into a relationship. I believe that's 100% true. And there were things on both our sides that we just thought we were going to do when we got in the relationship and we didn't. So then it just didn't work. So that unfortunately ended. And like I said, it was pretty costly because then there were moving expenses. There were, things that we were sharing that I had to either sell or get rid of, debts together that I had to. The relationship at the end probably had another $5,000 to $10,000 of debt added back that I had to try and take care of because we had gone in together on some things. And so we split. Then that put me backwards another 5 to 10K. And then right at the point, it was about the same day that we split that I got, oh God, I forgot about one other job that I had. It was, I think I just had to say I worked for Tesla for a little bit because I picked up somebody in my rideshare jobs and it was an employee at Tesla. And so I started working for them. Well, I got so interested in the stock market wiser because Tesla stock, it went crazy, no endorsement, that I wanted to learn about the market. And then when we broke up and we split and I moved, about the same time, I got a call from one of the financial firms that they wanted to hire me. This was going to significantly boost my income so that I could really rapidly pay off debt. And I think at that point,
the financial firm, how did that door open without revealing who it is,
Sure.
without keeping it as private as possible? How did that job come along?
Yeah, I just called one of their offices to ask about opportunities there because I was learning so much about the finances, the financial market, and the economy.
Were you investing at the time in the stock market?
Yeah, because of Tesla, they had profit sharing,
sure,
and so watching that, the volatility just made me really interested in learning more about the stock market and stocks. And so I called this person, and she said, "Well, our company is actually having a introductory session for people that are interested in working. So come to this place at this time, and maybe we can talk more." And so I did. Immediately connected with the folks that were there, and I ended up with a job there, and that gave me an income boost. Here's the important thing that helped me get out of debt. I did not stop doing the rideshare stuff. And that there were people that told me to stop it. Even my pastor said, now that you've got a better job, maybe you don't need to do this. And so did one of my friends back at home, but I didn't because I wanted to get out faster. I didn't care what else I had to do. I just wanted to get out. And I think that part of that came from listening to the podcast every single day and reinforcing that intensity to just not stop, get it gone. I got a higher paying job, which significantly increased my salary. I was able to really ramp up the payments, and then the economy crashed.
And this was
the pandemic, 2020. So I was, we were all getting ready to be done with our training and our licensing and talk to clients. And then the economy 2020 happened, and we were all sent home, right? I think everybody was sent home, and we were completely reassigned to a different task. We needed to save the economy. This was not, small businesses needed their small business loans, so we had to work our butts off on 13, 14 hours days. They were paying triple overtime to get these apps out, because we all know how important it was for our businesses to not just die. Like, all these small business owners were going to be out. So we did everything we could with all the hours we could. We were having call sessions where we were like, bro, we got to get these done. Let's save 15 more businesses. Let's go.
Yeah. Like, it was exciting times, but it was also scary.
Yeah. And I love the friends that I worked with, the coworkers that I worked with, because they kept it fun while doing such an important thing to help everyone. So, and then with triple overtime and with a pandemic that could kill people, I decided this is the time to not do rideshare work. This is a little risky, so I'm going to pull off of this for now. But oh my God, the money that they were paying to help save was deserved, and I just funneled that stuff into paying off the debt. So after 2021 came, I was probably around 40K, so we're getting in the home stretch here.
And this is about 10 years down the road. You've paid off almost $80,000?
Yeah. So it's 2021. I started paying off my debt in 2015. So we're like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is the 6th year. There's about 40K left. They switched us back to our regular jobs after the economy started to normalize. And so then I just went back to my regular rate of about 2K a month. And then I started doing rideshare again because I got permission. They allowed it. Then by 2022, I think I was at 20K left. So this is really exciting.
Super recent too. This is about 2 years ago.
Yeah, very recent. And
before we continue, what was your cost of living? Like, was rent, like, how did you, I'm a big believer in living below your means, and I assume that was kind of a thing that you were aiming towards. You're like, you know what, I could have a nicer apartment, I could live in a nice area with a higher paying job, but I choose not to.
Exactly. That's what it was, yeah.
What was, if you don't mind me asking, What was your rent at the time?
Rent, when I was in that shared housing from 2014 to 2016 was about $600 a month.
That's amazing for Los Angeles.
That was incredible, but we had quite a few dancers in there. We were sharing the space. Incredible. Those are Ohio rates. Like, I am blessed that Free even gave me the opportunity to pay such cheap rent. After that, I got addicted to cheap rent, so I always found a way to have some sort of roommate or share costs or reduce costs until I moved here. This was the first place where I was able to pay afford to pay $14.50 a month.
And that's this apartment that we're in now?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I noticed after a couple of years, the prices weren't changing. I believe that this is a rent-controlled space. That's crazy. I don't want to get too much into that because I know there's different political aspects to it. I do see the benefit to tenants of not having to pay very expensive prices in a city like LA. I see where landlords could be a little bothered by not being able to raise their rent to stay competitive. But I had no clue of that before I moved in. I just got a place I liked, and that happened to be the situation. So I took advantage of every opportunity to put that extra money to paying off the debt. And so now we're looking at 2022. Is that where we left off?
Yep.
Yeah, 20K left. 2023 comes around. Was this last year? I'm trying to think of when was it? When was it that Biden made the announcement that they were going to forgive the loans?
That was... it was towards the start of 2023. I remember this exactly because I was very excited about that.
Yeah.
But then it didn't pan out.
Yeah. I think was it August of 2022 that he announced it, or August 23?
I think it was August of 23 because... No, it was August of 2022 because in 2020, the summer of 2023, the Supreme Court was someone in Texas challenged it, and then
Yeah.
the Supreme Court said that he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then the SAVE plan came out for student loans, and I believe those who had consistently made payments for 10 years were able to still get forgiveness.
Yeah.
And so were you one of those people that got some loans forgiven?
All right, so this is very significant. This refreshes my timeline a little bit, and I was just a little bit off on the numbers. So 2022 was when I had the last 20K left, actually, because that 2020 to 2022 period, I was able to make a lot of extra money and get things going. So, and at this point, I think I started helping out my mom a little bit every once in a while, and then she helped me out because she wanted to see me succeed. So, shout out to mom, love you, sisters, dad, girlfriend, and dog. The reason that announcement is significant is because I paid off the last penny of debt August 1st, 2022. Then, after I had done all my hard work on my own, the announcement came that, for anyone that still has debt, we're going to relieve your student loan debt. 10 years, and they made the announcement. Something about my timing is really interesting because I hear about these opportunities after I've already made an alternate decision. So I thought, well, that's okay. I'm proud of my work. I did what my friends have advised me to do, and it's just too bad I couldn't have an extra $20,000 or $40,000. Oh, man. And so then they announced later on that, by the way, if you paid it off, we can go ahead and refund it to you so that you get it paid off. Man, I had a long, hard time thinking about this because I was like, okay, my friends on one side of the political spectrum are saying, this is insane. Get the money back. Wow. This is like starting over. My friends on the other side of the political spectrum are saying, you did your due diligence. You did what you don't need a handout, right? And I'll say politically, I often remain very in the middle because I listen to what both of all of my friends are saying. So I won't state my stance, but I listen to everybody. And so I eventually I caved in because I was like, this has been so hard for me. If I can get an opportunity to at least try what I wanted to try here and have some extra money to fund myself for a little while to afford these expensive classes. I mean, classes out here are like $500 a month, every month that you're taking them. So if you multiply that by 12 months, that's $6,000 a year. Okay. So I know a lot of times people will say, well, it doesn't cost this much to, do this and that or the other to be. No, it costs quite a bit. It costs, if you're doing the training that you're told to do, it's about $6,000 a year. This is no joke. So I was going to take, that refund because, I mean, I had, you can say God, the universe, whatever. I had contemplated, prayed, thought a lot of times about how could I just get another chance to make this go a little bit better. And so I was given that. So I took the money, and then they, as you said, they said, oh, psych, we're not going to let you have this. That's sigh number 2. Everyone do it with me. So then I was like, okay, I'm not paying any more interest. I'm angry again, like when I moved out here from Ohio. I'm paying it all off again, and just because I had put some in savings, I had put some in my checking account, and I didn't go out and buy a new car or something. So
they gave you money and then they asked for it back.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. So they made the announcement that they were going to forgive the loans. So then I contacted my loan service provider and said, hey, I'd like to get the refund. Boom. The money was given back, $40K. And then they said, no, we're just kidding. Well, the Supreme Court rulings did what they did and decided that wasn't best for the economy. I'll say it this way. Wasn't best for the economy to make that decision. So please, X out that plan. So then I decided, okay, well, I'm not going to accrue interest again because I just got through this journey. So I'm just going to pay it all off again. So since I had already saved and put some money in checking accounts, et cetera, I decided I wasn't going to drain all that money immediately. I'm just going to do what I did in the last few years and work extra over the next year to pay it off before the interest starts. I did it. I probably had about 4 months where there was interest that I paid, but that was it. And then I knocked it all out again fast because I was not about to pay more interest I already did that. So 2023 was actually when I paid it off officially because of all that. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Not 2023. This year, because I had, what year is it? I'm losing my years. Yes, this year there was like a few $1,000 left because I was just making sure I just didn't touch all the money. Well, I sent some of it back actually. Yeah. I think half of it I did, and then the other half I just paid off. So I officially for the second time became debt free this year. About a month or two. That's when I made that post.
Yep.
That's when I made that post.
Comes full circle.
Yeah. So wow, guys. And I know we'll have probably a final word later, but one thing I gotta say is you must do yourself a favor and learn everything you possibly can about finances, interest rates, loans, credit cards, so that you don't make hasty, spontaneous decisions with money and loans and money that can be loaned to you. I have even gone so far as to, because I've had opportunities where maybe I could get real estate now out of this state, not here. The average cost is like 1.2 million for a house. I'm not doing that. I don't think that's in my spectrum, and nor would I want to if I had the money, because there's better ways I could invest. Not a recommendation. But yeah, I looked out of state because the housing costs out here are insane. So I had thought that I had some opportunities for real estate out of state, but the terms were pretty high. First, it was 20% if it's an investment property. Then it's 25% because there's more than 2 units. So, like, if you're looking at a $270,000 property, you got to have another $65,000 in cash ready to go. And I'm like, wow, I just got out of debt. I don't think I want to get back in for a while. I might just wait 10 years, save cash, and buy a freaking cheap house in another state and then relocate, or hopefully I have something working out with my current job to where I can do some digital stuff and maybe be hybrid and come back and forth. I love what I'm doing right now. I just, to anyone that's listening, do your due diligence and do the research. If you can find ways to cash flow your expenses to where you don't need to borrow or use debt, you will thank yourself later, and you'll have a better net worth situation to go off of. Where do you want to go from here?
I think we're getting close to time.
Great.
So I think I just want to ask maybe 2 more questions.
Sure.
And that's it.
Awesome. Quite a journey, yeah?
Super, super incredible journey. Thank you for sharing your story nonetheless. I think debt is a scary topic.
Yeah.
And I don't think people talk about it enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think finances is such a weird topic to talk about because it's not fun. Mm-hmm. It's not, people don't think of it as passion or essential, mm-hmm. but it really is necessary. And it sucks that we live in a world that is money driven, but mm-hmm. you either play the game or you get out, you know? And so I guess what I want to ask you is, what would you say to somebody who is in $100,000 of debt right now, and what should they start doing right now?
100%. Work every freaking job that you can get. I don't care if it's 3 jobs, 5 jobs, whatever. Just get every job that you can to just cash flow the money in. The next 7 years of your life most likely are going to be vicious when it comes to not having much free time, but you are going to be glad once you are done with this journey. I do believe that a day off is good. So I would say work as hard as you can those 6 days a week. Hopefully you can get your 60 to 80 hours in there, and then take one day and just decompress, because that's one of the mistakes I think I was making in 2018 when I got into a previous relationship, was that I was not taking days off, and I was not at my best because of that. I think it just adds to your anxieties, your stresses, it's not so good. So work as hard as you can, 6 days a week, take a day off, and read your contracts. Read all those little 28, 30 page documents that your credit card or bank or whatever send you. Even the freaking Apple updates, read them. So you can know details. That's what will save you a lot of pain in life.
Sean Paul Payton.
Yes.
Would you care to share a word before we leave?
Yes. For all of the artists out there, it is an exciting and challenging game. Because I was able to realize one of my dreams of working with an artist that I enjoy her material, I say go for it. And I also say write down all the numbers so that you know what you're getting into, and see how can you cash flow your experience so that you don't drive yourself into debt. Because it is possible, I believe, with especially all the opportunities we have to make money now online. I'll just say none of these are recommendations. Online, YouTube, Uber, Lyft, Turo, side hustles. There is a way to get what you want with money. Now, you might have to focus on the money first. Like, let's say you took 2 or 3 years to just build your funds, and maybe you'll have 1 year, maybe 2 years expenses. But hey, if you've got that set up in the first 2 years of your journey, then you can really take all the classes you want and not have such a problem or be in your knees in debts. So, and then again, if you are in your knees in debt, work all those extra jobs that you can. Know that the next 5 to 7 years might be the hardest, but you can still make time. That 1 day off a week, maybe that's your day to do artist stuff. Maybe you'll add a second day a week in there where you can get booked on set and do that instead of your full-time side hustles and everything. But long story short, you can make what you want to happen in life happen. You just want to write down your plan and just look at everything full circle, and you'll be fine.
Everybody, you will be fine. This is a hard world that we live in. There's no pressure to beat yourself up over the system that is already beating you down. I personally started this podcast because I myself am in debt. I have about $20,000 in my name and about $80,000 in my father's name from undergrad. That's just from undergrad going to Nebraska out of state. And I am doing everything that I can to understand how to pay that debt off. I started this podcast because I wanted it to be financially viable as a side hustle, and it is not there right now. And I believe that this show is good enough, and I want it to grow and continue to grow. And that is one of the main motivators behind A Word Before We Leave, because I want this show to become something that's bigger than myself. I want it to become financially stable. I want to stop waiting tables, but I will continue to wait those tables, and I'll continue to do the hustles, and I'll continue to be the actor, because you guys know I'm an actor, because that's why I came out to LA. That's literally why I do what I do. But I'm not special in the aspect. I'm just like you guys. I guarantee you that some of you might have less debt than I do. Some of you might have more debt, but we are in this together. Community is important. And A Word Before We Leave is a show that is community-based. If you liked this episode, please share it. Please send it to a loved one that has maybe been going through challenges of debt. And let's not be afraid to talk about the hard problems and the hard parts of life. And we cannot bank on people helping us the whole way there. You will get help at some point, but it's not going to be, it's not going to be help that's going to save you. It's often going to be a handshake or someone picking you up once you're down. And so recognize the help when it's there, and you can pay off your debt. I can pay off my debt, and it will take time, but you can and you will. And I don't want to make this too political, but I do believe that we should implement policymakers through the future that are debt conscious and care about the American citizen and about the journey that it takes to live within this country, because it's not easy right now. It's the most expensive time to be a human being.
Yes.
So without further ado, just remember that no matter where you come from, no matter what background you come from, there are people out there that do struggle with money. And as educated as one can be, debt is still a very real thing for people. And if you are fortunate enough not to have debt, I just want you to be thankful for the circumstances that you're in. If you just paid off debt, congratulations. And I'm sure the lessons that you've learned, Sean, along the way have been life-changing.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that your savings game is about to be insane now that you're debt-free. I'm excited to see what life looks like for you in 10 years.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
You know, where you can now really build a good foundation. Maybe start saving for retirement. Maybe start saving to...
Oh, I've started.
Maybe start saving to live in nicer places, have bigger financial goals. I'm guessing you were pinching pennies. Vacations weren't a big thing for you. Eating out probably wasn't a big thing for you. Frugal spending, not shopping excessively, just getting what you need, not what you want all the time.
Right.
And I can't imagine that was easy, but humans are adaptable. We are an adaptable species, and we will overcome our struggles within life. After all, this is a word before we leave. My name is Brett Gaffney, and you can do it. And if it doesn't feel like anybody's rooting for you, I promise you I'm rooting for you. And I hope that you're rooting for me too. And I hope that you're rooting for Sean as well, because Sean's got a promising life. And he is an example of how to get out of the hole when you're starting from the bottom. But we made it to the top.
We will be fine.
This has been Brett Gaffney and
Sean Paul Payton.
And all I have to do now is close a door, literally. I'm just going to open your front door.
Great.
And then close it. That's how every episode ends.
Nice. And that's a wrap.